All right, Ruby. Part deux. Parte dos of hash brown creation. The perfect art and science and the magic of the fried potato, my friend. We've got here an onion. And we are going to cut it for the hash browns to enhance that flavor. We're gonna cut it in fine pieces, we're gonna season it, and we're gonna add it to a frying pan as the potatoes are getting crisped to perfection and getting browned up. We're gonna add these after we add the potatoes, and we're gonna season them to perfection using our seasonings of choice. Usually like pepper, salt, maybe a little garlic, maybe some seasoned salt. You know, you could do some rosemary, you could get basil in there, you could do oregano and whatever crazy shit you want. You can put hot peppers in there for the people that love stuff like that. If you have some hot sauce around, or some hot peppers, or some peppers just at all, you can put that in there. Yeah, without further ado, this is an onion. We're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it a little bit differently than a potato because unlike a potato, which is just kind of a solid lump, you know, kind of a solid roundish lump of fleshy potatoey goodness, an onion has some internal layers. Onions has layers and some internal kind of geometries that we can leverage to save a little bit of time. In the potato video, we did some lengthwise cuts. We kind of like did some fancy 3D math rotations and kind of did some lengthwise cuts and then some perpendicular cuts. Well, with an onion, you can leverage the inherent geometry of an onion. You don't have to do all that shit because an onion comes with layers. So a lot of that internal cutting has already kind of been done just by the inherent geometry, internal geometry of an onion. The very anatomy of an onion helps us out. So it's an onion. I'm gonna cut off one side and kind of leave my knife here so I can kind of like rotate and peel some of that onion skin off. And I'm gonna take the other side and kind of do the same thing. Cut off the end, but like leave my knife on the cutting board and almost like pry whatever onion skin that I can do off of that, which actually makes the peeling process a little bit easier. And again, these aren't the freshest onions. I've been out of town at a wedding, getting married in the past few weeks. See the best veggies that I've got in the fridge and in the cupboard, in the pantry. I actually don't refrigerate my potatoes and onions. I just leave them in a pantry in a basket, and they do just fine. They are preserved very well. I'm gonna kind of like wash all that excess little onion debris off my hands, get back into this camera, and allow some art and science and magic to happen for you, my friend. That's an onion. You'll notice that I've cut off this end, also cut off this end. And along those same parallel lines, I'm gonna cut right in the half of that sucker. Bam! These are 2 halves of an onion, approximate halves. I'll cut off the ends, maybe a little less than a half, maybe like, they're 49% each of an onion. And you'll notice that onions have layers. I don't know if you can see that, but those kind of like concentric rings that you see there, if you weren't aware, onions have layers. And we're gonna leverage that inherent geometry to just cut this in half and this in half. And we're not gonna do it as much like fancy little rotation action as we did for the potato. All I'm going to do is kind of set this aside, do the same little like rotation there. And actually it is, when I really think about it, it's the same rotation that I did for the potato. Why lie about it? So remember, kind of slide those apart, plop that down, and rotate that so that you'll notice that each of these kind of has that ring concentricity about it in that direction. But you'll notice it's just 4 quarters of an onion. And like the potato, what we're gonna do is just chop lengthwise, 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 lengthwise. And we're only gonna do twice for this. Lengthwise, lengthwise, lengthwise. And remember for the potato, what we also did was kind of like rotate this part. We kind of like did some more lengthwise cuts. We don't have to do any of that stuff because of the inherent geometry of an onion with those layers and those concentric rings. That all we have to do at this point is turn this around. We're not recreating any onions here, but we are able to just kind of, I mean, it looks almost kind of like a half of an onion. Not as perfect as the potato looked. We don't care about looking good. We don't care about perfection here, but we do care about getting an onion chopped and also displaying the inherent art and science and magic of making hash browns. So take that apart, turn this around, put these together, and all we're gonna do is make those, we're gonna almost jump to the last step and make those perpendicular cuts. Like we did on the potato, only this time we didn't have to make two lengthwise cuts along the vegetable. All we had to do was make one and then do our perpendicular cut. And on that note, what we have are these really kind of fine morsels of onion, you see? And they're all pretty consistent. I mean, if I kind of demo that to you, you can kind of see that. Like we've achieved some level of consistency there. So on that note, next thing I need to do is go in my pantry and get a pan. And that's where the real art and the magic happens. Peace.